I did a few movies with Bipasha, but it was not about the movies we did. It was about we broke up and we're doing a movie together still. What's the chemistry like? How are we still friends? And they did this film together. So I've been replaced last minute. I don't want to name names.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I was there, all spoken for and everything. And it's happened 3 or 4 times. It upsets you at that point. Today, in hindsight, I look back and say, you just have to trust the universe because something better is waiting. What is my job as an actor? My job as an actor is to act, to be in front of the camera. And if I don't have a job, to go and say, bhai, mujhe kaam chahiye. And I have no shame. I'll call up people who I know, or I'll call up directors and producers I don't even know, whose movie I've just seen and say, yeah, just remember me. I want to work with you. I did my job. My job is to go and say,
Give me work.
Give me work.
Yeah. He's like the OG national crush when it comes to the men here in our country and even otherwise. And my personal one too. Welcome to ETimes, Dino Morea. High five.
Hey, Sha.
Hey, Sha.
I love it. I love the introduction. Thank you.
You know what the thing is? I'm going to tell you something which I've been dying to say ever since this interview got like hitched. First, my very first memory of you is sitting at the Carter Road crepe station.
Yeah.
Right? And me and my girlfriends would come there. We loved the crepe, by the way, but we also came to watch you. And that vibe that you had, you know, like you're there, you're doing your own thing, you're talking to people, your staff, etc. You're all by yourself, you're chilling, you're enjoying. And then we would just walk in and we'd just be like, oh, Dino's here. So 9 out of 10 times we came to crepe for you. And then the one time was for the crepe, but we loved the crepe too.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. True patrons.
Yeah, man. Crazy. And then the second time is when I interviewed you at the red carpet of the Miss India event where you came as one of the judge.
Yeah.
And again there I was just like, oh my God, why did I not tell him the crepe station story? But, well, today we are here.
And now you're telling me the crepe station story.
I am.
Quite lovely. Thank you so much.
You know, I have to ask this before anything else. I'm sure you're aware the kind of love and admiration you got from your, you know, like the female crowd and audience over there right back in the day even when you started, and you continue to get it even right now. How do you take it, man? Like, do you process it well? Because if you ask me, personally, I'm horrible at taking compliments. I want to know how you do it.
To answer your first question, I am aware. There's love and there's a lot of appreciation. And I am aware of it. I'm not silly. How do I take it? Well, I kind of enjoy it. We all do as human beings.
Yeah.
You know, if anyone appreciates us for who we are and for the way we, for instance, look, then it is like an ego boost. And all we're trying to do right now as we grow older is detach from the ego and not have egos, you know, so to speak. But it is good for, you know, your ego, and it feels good. I won't lie. How do I handle it? I handle it just pretty easily, I must say. I don't let it bother me where it makes me feel so good that if it's not there and I feel as bad. So I understand that it's there and I appreciate it for the moment, and I'm grateful that I am in this space, in this situation, and I am receiving so much love. I am seriously so grateful that I received this adulation. But I don't let it get to me, and when people come out and are vocal about it, and I'm like, thank you, thanks so much. That's the least I can do.
Yeah.
You know, so I think one just has to take it, you know, very lightly and not let it chadao you to another level and put you on this pedestal, that if this pedestal, by mistake, something happens and you fall, that you're crushed.
Yeah.
Right? So you just got to be cool about it. And I think I'm doing a fairly decent job of being cool about it, I think.
I think you're very cool because even my fellow reporters, you know, they've always mentioned that Dino is a very chill person to talk to. He's a charmer. He will never intimidate you, and he's there. Like, you know, and I think that is something that we all feel great about because, you know, like before any interview, when we're also sitting, we're also like, oh my God, you know, ye puchna hai, wo puchna hai, etc., etc. But when you walked in, even right now, you had this easy, you know, vibe and chill aura. Was this always there, or do you feel that you got wiser with time? How were you when you were young?
I've always been, as far as I can remember, I've always been pretty chill. Maybe it's got to do with my upbringing, maybe it's got to do with my schooling and the way I am as a person. I come from a fairly liberal family. So maybe that, how I saw my folks behave, they were very social. very easy with people, and I think that sort of trickled down into me and my brothers. So I've always been fairly easy, yes. But having said that, you know, from me getting into the entertainment industry, be it modeling back in the day, and then advertising, and then music videos, and then movies, I've done a fair share of interviews and interacted with so many people uh, that I've understood how to handle, or rather try and handle. I think I've understood how to try and handle people, and I am a people's person. So it's not that bad actually. It's not tough. It's something. It's just easy. You just got to be yourself. Be comfortable. Don't get bothered. There are times when I do get bothered.
Yeah.
There are times in certain situations where I'm a bit shy and reserved. I am. One would think that.
Yeah.
Take no,
you
no,
know,
but
no, that can't happen.
you know, I sometimes, strange as it may sound, when I see too much going on in terms of many celebrities, so on and so forth, I shy away sometimes. I do shy away sometimes,
Very hard
and
to believe.
you might not see it,
Yeah.
but I'm like, "Ooh, okay, need to get in my car and go home quickly." You know, there are times when I feel like that. So, but by and large, I love all this. I love it. I enjoy it. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
What I was actually going to come to next was that you've always had other businesses as well. You've been an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you know, with your entertainment career as well.
Yeah.
What kept drawing you back to like the Hindi movies or Bollywood or entertainment in general?
Okay. For the sake of clarity, this is where I began modeling,
Yeah.
music videos, and then an opportunity into movies, and I did movies. I love the films. I love cinema. When I sit in a theater and I watch somebody else's movie, I at times imagine myself on that screen and playing that part and how I would have done it. I love it that much. I did a fair share of films. Some did well, and lots didn't do well, right? And in the 2000s, when I worked a lot, from 2000 to 2011, I kind of worked nearly every day. I was doing shows and I was shooting just about every day. There came a point in 2011, yeah, when the offers coming to me were terrible. Were terrible. Even the roles or the characters being offered were just, you know, I knew that if I did that, I'd be seen, but I'd be digging my grave far deeper. Right? So I had to make a conscious decision to say no, just say no to directors, whoever they might be, that I won't be a part of, I won't do this role.
Okay.
Right? And it was tough for me to say no because some were big films. But by just doing that, I'd be seen, but it wouldn't really make an effort and sort of, it wouldn't make a difference to my career. I wouldn't be going to the next level. I wouldn't have the audience coming and saying, "Kya kiya usne?" I wouldn't have gotten that. So I said, why should I say yes to movies like this? And that's when I just started saying no. And when you start saying no, then people think you don't want to work. And then, you know, directors also get offended sometimes.
Yeah.
That, you know,
Harsh reality.
उसने
but
ऐसा
true.
उसने ऐसा ना कैसे बोला. So I'm okay with all that. I thought to myself that, okay, to be connected with the film industry, let me also produce. So 2012, I produced my first film because I wanted to stay connected, even though I was not being offered anything great. I produced Jism 2.
Yeah.
And I was watching the actors and I was like, wow, this is where I need to be on the other side. You know, but the whole production and the whole, you know, being a producer was fantastic. It was a great eye-opener for me to see how it works on the other side, right? And not just as an actor. I learned a lot. And then thereafter, I started honing my skills and saying that, you know what, nothing's coming now, but it will come. Something will happen, and I should be prepared when it comes.
Yeah.
I want to be, if a producer comes and says, hey, Dino, you're shooting tomorrow, I want to be so ready. So I was always prepared, and then, you know, fortunately, things changed in the whole viewing space and mediums with OTT and stuff coming up. And then there were many offers again, and I picked a few, and I did a few, and then that sort of again changed things for me. And the good part, like I said, is I was ready. And to stay afloat, to be part of the industry, to be sort of heard of, I kept producing. I produced 2 movies so far. And I kept doing small things here and there to make myself a little visible, not to be completely out of sight. Because there's a huge insecurity which comes in, and then you have producers and people coming in saying, hey, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
You know, which in a way is true. Because the less you're seen, the audiences also kind of tend to forget you,
Yeah.
right? So it was a scary moment for me. It was a couple of years which was just terrible because I'd be offered stuff still. And you need a lot of guts to say no.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, okay, you know what, let me just go be seen.
Yeah.
And then you lose something and say, "Arey yaar, 2 saal baad ye kiya usne." You know, so audiences also think like that. And the industry also will think like that, "Acha, 2 saal ke baad ye dekho kya kiya usne." So I'd rather wait.
Yeah.
And I waited it out and it's paying off. And, you know, I feel if you just work at it and just be persistent and, I mean, there's no consistency because you're not getting great offers, but you're just persistent. You're trying to go and get the work and attract that work. It will come to you and you just have to be ready and you have to smash it at that point. I think Empire, the show, sort of opened up a lot for me. You know, because people saw me in a different avatar. And not to put a feather in my own hat, but the kind of compliments and the critiques I got for my acting was fantastic. I never heard this before. Right? Every time it was, oh, good-looking boys, who's he dating? You know?
Yeah.
And I would do movies where I would talk about my acting.
Yeah.
You know? So finally they spoke about my acting and I was mighty thrilled. And it also gives you, not that I wasn't confident earlier, but it just gives you an extra sense of confidence that, you know what, I'm really good.
Yeah.
I'm fantastic, actually. Just cast me. You know, so I'm out there again, knocking on doors and saying, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
would love
haven't
to see more of
aged.
you
I'm
too.
looking cool. You know?
Yeah, you are actually looking the same. Like as I just mentioned, saw you then, seeing you now, looking absolutely great.
Thank you.
But you know what I also want to ask you is that, you know, back in the day when you started off,
Yeah.
social media was not as prevalent as
Yeah.
it is right now, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole following game, the
Yeah.
whole paparazzi culture, the whole like, even if you like have a sip of coffee, it's
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
digital right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Do you think if all of these things were prevalent probably earlier, it would have helped like push out more of Dino out there? Because
For
it's working right now, right?
For sure. I mean, from 2000 to 2010, there was absolutely no social
Yeah.
media. So if you wanted to, if you were seen, you'd probably be there was no paparazzi culture.
Yeah.
You'd go to an event and there'd be photographers who take your picture and then you'd be seen and it'd be in the papers. And the biggest thing at that point would be on the front page of some
Newspaper.
For instance, the Bombay Times, so to speak. And then people would see you and say, hey, I saw you in Bombay Times. Now it's all changed.
Yeah.
So anyone today who is sort of a celebrity or becoming a celebrity, for them to get awareness is far easier. Far easier.
Yeah.
You know, you can be made an instant star.
Yeah.
You know, by just being on social media.
Yeah.
We had to do movies. We had to do advertisements. We had to model.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it, the kind of adulation I had when I was a model, because at that time modeling was just about bursting in
Yeah.
India. So we were these idolized, you know, sort of stars in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
It was models more than actors or cricketers at some point. You know, because they were written about and spoken about and everything was modeling.
Yeah.
So there was that time, which was great. And I was fortunate to be a part of that time.
Yeah.
So I saw that. But coming back to now, social media is it's huge. Everyone is on social media.
Yeah.
Every millennial, Gen Z, the new terms, they're all on social media. So anyone who sort of wants to break out has to make a nice YouTube video, for instance, and you can become a star instantly if it's really fantastic.
Yeah.
If we had it back then, we'd be far more sort of, you know, in everybody's eye. We
Yeah.
didn't have it back then, but we have to make do with the tools we have now and try and push ourselves out.
Yeah.
We had social media back then. I'd probably be having that many more followers.
Exactly.
Right now.
Exactly.
You know?
That's the whole thing. Because the whole thing right now is a lot to do with the way you're looking, vanity, you know, content, fitness, which is pretty much, you know, what you've been admired for primarily.
Yeah.
And now imagine all of that on social media would have been
It would have
massive.
been huge.
Yeah.
Huge. But I mean, so it is what it is. You guys got to make do now.
You know, so I feel like right now the relevance of social media also comes with its like cons, right? Like
Yeah.
the minute, you know, there is something negative that's happening, like let's say any kind of controversy or any kind
Yeah.
of relationship, 9 out of 10 times I feel a person or harsh reality. Even like us publications sometimes put out a narrative, or we're more interested in personal lives of actors as well.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people also tell me this, that listen, we get it, we're public figures. People
Yeah.
will talk about us and they
Yeah.
would want to know about us. Have you ever felt back in the day, minus social media also, that when your controversial stuff was written about you or
Yeah.
spoken about you or your relationships, did you feel like that is kind of taking away from the work that you actually have been doing?
For sure. I mean, for instance, like I was just saying earlier, I was spoken so many times more for the person I was seeing, rather than the movie I was doing. I mean, I did a few movies with Bipasha, but it was not about the movies we did. It was about we broke up
Yeah.
and we're doing a movie together still. What's the chemistry like? How are we still friends? It was more. I understand it's human nature to read that because everybody is going through some relationship problem and they want to relate to that.
Yeah.
And yes, you're promoting a movie on the side, and they did this film together.
Yeah.
So I understand it's part and parcel of the job, but you understand that much later. Initially, it just bothers you. It kept bothering me, and that's why I used to be, and I still am. I try to be really private about my relationships in my life, my personal life.
Yeah.
I try to be as personal and quiet about it because that doesn't need to be spoken about. I mean, a lot of young people today want to put it all out there.
Correct.
On Instagram. Fair enough. You can go and do whatever you want to do. But I feel still that, there's certain things you got to keep. I'm not saying if somebody asks you in a relationship, don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Yes, I am in a relationship. But you don't have to go out there putting your entire life's photo album
Yeah.
for people who don't matter
Yeah.
to
True.
see and have an opinion about it. This is how I feel. This is how I felt then, and this is how I feel now. Maybe it'll change because it's becoming so casual and easy for people to go out and just put their entire lives out for the world to see.
Yeah.
And when the world has an opinion, they get affected. Well, if you're putting it out there, then you shouldn't be affected about what, because everybody's got an opinion today.
Yeah. True.
And everybody has access to you. And you have access to their opinions. And if you're going to read those opinions and get affected, then don't put your life out there. Otherwise, be ready for anything.
Yeah. There's been so much chatter and talk right now about the fact that, there are these whole generation of actors who don't come from like a filmy background, and then
Yeah.
there was nepotism and this and that. You've been somebody who's paved your own path
Yeah.
also in the film industry. What were your challenges like, whether it was modeling, whether it was acting, anything that you faced that you feel like, I mean, damn, why?
No, I've been pretty fortunate. It wasn't easy. It's been a struggle ever since I moved from Bangalore to come here and model and then get music with. I mean, I did what every other young kid would do.
Yeah.
I'd come in and search for work, and I worked really hard, and I lived frugally because we didn't know where the next, rent was going to come from. I lived like that. I did actually live like that. When I tell people when I first moved to Mumbai, I came by Udyan Express.
Okay.
I know the train. I mean, I used to travel and come to Bombay by train.
Wow.
So I know how I came here first. I know where I stayed. I was staying as a paying guest, sharing a room with another person. And so I did all that. I did that. I struggled. I used to take the train and go to, famous studio for auditions. Hot and sweaty and stuff like that.
Bombay weather.
So I did everything. It was a struggle. But that's the experience. That's the life experience you get from trying to make things happen in your life.
Yeah.
And like I said, fortunately, it all panned out for me. It wasn't one shot straight to success. It was a struggle. And then when I got into the film industry, obviously you meet colleagues who probably are part of the film industry, whose parents are part of the film industry. I never had any grouse that they were getting far more opportunities. Fair enough. I mean, I would think to myself that if I have kids and I'm doing really well in the film industry, I'd obviously go and offer help to my son or daughter and
Yeah.
say, you know what,
Correct.
here, take this. Now it's up to you to go and prove yourself. So I had no issues, and for me, this whole nepotism word never bothered me. I was fortunately really welcomed by the film industry. They took me in well, and my first film did well, but my second was such a humongous success,
Yeah.
Raaz,
Yeah.
that everyone sort of patted me on the back, and it was great. And then, then it's up to you to go out and make, do what you have to do with your career. Um, I didn't know anything about the film industry at that point, to be honest. So I was learning as I went, and we'd have a manager who you thought was your main go-to person, right? But sometimes even managers slip up because everyone's looking after their own interests also.
Correct.
Besides looking after you.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't know that. You think you're just being looked after. And you go with an experienced, dependable person thinking they got your back. They have your back, but they're also looking after themselves far more.
Yeah.
And you get to know that later. You get to learn many things through this journey. And it's not easy, but everything I feel was just a great learning experience for me. There's been ups and downs. I've seen it. My hugely successful films.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing myself doing no films at all. I've seen the drop. And you see how people change. And you see behaviors change. But that's okay. That's how it is. This is life. You can't complain. Just be the best you can.
How did you cope with when you were at your lowest?
Well, it's terrible. It's tough. When I was at my lowest, when I sort of came by train, staying as paying guest, bought a house, and then started getting no work. And then you're thinking, okay, but you look back and you say, you know what, I came by train. I can still do it. I can do it again. You can take everything away from me, but I'll do it again because I'm good. Right? You just have to have that confidence. It beats you down.
Yeah.
It really beats you down. It just makes you realize that, wow, this could all be given to you, and then suddenly it's just gone. Right? I think every actor, I'm assuming, every actor's fear is this, losing that position, losing what they have.
Yeah.
You know, your fans, the frenzy, losing that. And if you're not stable in your head and you're not secure and confident of yourself, you lose yourself.
Correct.
Right? So I just, maybe it's my sports and my upbringing and the kind of discipline that I have, which kept me going. And if it wasn't films, I had to do something else, right? So I would do other things. I mean, that's the entrepreneur in me which came out, where I tried businesses and I lost some of the money that I had, that I'd saved. I had two really badly failed businesses, which I thought, oh, you know, I'm smart. But I went into spaces I had no idea about. And I tried. But then you realize also that, okay, at least I know now, wherever I make my next investment, I'm far more assured and confident and careful about how I go about it.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot. I mean, this life has taught me really well as to where and how and what to do and you know, run your life.
Yeah.
If one's not working, how do you make the other work?
You know, so like people who are probably like in their 30s, like myself, if I have to talk about and take a very personal example, because when I sit with my friends and I talk to them, there are times when we're doing our jobs out of sheer, you know, complacent attitude, and also because you know that there's a steady income that's you know, hitting your bank account.
Yeah.
Probably it's that fear that just makes us feel, I don't want to leave this, you know, because paise nahi aayenge, phir kya karoge, khaoge kaise, you know, all of that.
That is what it is.
But then you never felt that, because when I'm talking to you like that, you've taken so many risks. You know, was there ever a day where you felt like, पैसे के लिए उठा लेता हूँ यार, चलेगा?
बिल्कुल. हम कितनी बार मैंने सोचा कि यार ये जो घर का जो खर्चा है वो कहाँ से आएगा?
Exactly.
I'm telling you, I watch my bank account and I'm looking at it and saying, यार ये नीचे जाता रहा और कुछ पैसा नहीं आ रहा है. But strangely, you know, in moments like this, the universe gives you. I don't want to sound too philosophical, but on the verge of moments in my life where I've thought, shit, कुछ है नहीं, कुछ है नहीं.
Things are turned.
Somebody has called and said, एक event है, कर लेंगे. यार, क्यों नहीं, करेंगे. And then it just, you have to want it bad enough, and it comes to you. So you just have to be ready, and you just have to want. You have to really want it, and everything happens, I feel. You know, but if one is not working, like you said, we all need this steady salary, because we want to be certain.
Yeah.
Risk नहीं लेना हमें, क्योंकि we don't know uncertainty. But मेरा ये मानना है कि uncertainty is your biggest opportunity.
Very well
When you
said.
go into places you don't even know, you're so uncertain, you'll see the biggest opportunity. That's the risk you got to take. I've seen it I've taken those risks where I've been so uncertain कि अगला पैसा कहाँ से आएगा, next salary कहाँ से आएगी, and it comes. You just have to have faith. Yeah. Just have faith. Believe in yourself that it will come, but you also have to work really hard. ऐसा नहीं कि आप सोचो कि मुझे ये पैसा आना चाहिए वो आ जाएगा. You have to really work.
Yeah.
Knock on doors. Do your job. Do what you have to do. And sometimes, we do jobs which we're not happy about.
Yeah.
But we do it. But that's okay. You can do it sometimes, but go back to what you love doing.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing will eventually drive you to do better, and then the more money also kind of comes in.
It comes in, yeah. I mean, they say that when you're having fun and you're not working, when you're just having fun doing what you're doing, you don't feel like you're working.
Yeah.
And that's when you're so focused in it that money will come. मुझे लगता है कि मेरी सबसे पहली बड़ी गलती थी कि I was like, यार पैसा चाहिए, मुझे पैसा चाहिए. When I started doing films, that I was losing track of what films. Because it was not the greed for money, but I needed it. It was not the greed, it's just that I needed, अभी मुझे घर लेना है. I need to buy a house for me or for my folks. I need to, it was a necessity. So it wasn't the greed of money, but I was just so ambitious at chasing the money than looking after my, I should do this film, ये picture करनी है, नहीं वो picture नहीं करनी है. I didn't think about it too well at that point.
So do you feel like probably this particular one thing could be something that you would have done differently in your career? Like shifting your focus?
Better decisions.
Yeah.
If I had to change something about what I did initially, it would be just, I would have paid a little more attention to the kind of work I chose. I'm not saying I chose bad work, it's just that I was chasing, not even chasing, my manager was sort of advising me to work with a better setup. For instance, this movie's got this producer and these actors, so it'll do really well.
Yeah.
As opposed to, let's go for a fantastic story. So, if I had to actually make some changes, it would probably, and yes, the money at that time, I needed it. So I wouldn't say I would have changed many things, but because I really needed the finance at that point. I was having, when you come from really not much, you see that you can buy a house for your parents. You want to buy a house for your parents, right?
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Sorry, is this okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's good.
It's all good.
Yeah. Should I wear the cap now?
Yeah, you should wear the cap. I like it.
Okay. All right.
Also, what I want to ask you is that right now, if you go to see, a lot of people are shifting towards spirituality, as they say, meditation and like fitness and mental health. And I don't know, somehow when I'm talking to you, I just get a vibe that you're all of it. Probably when you started that off at a point in your life where you kind of encountered your own set of hardships. Is that true, or correct me if I'm wrong?
No, so the fitness and the focus and the discipline, that comes from a very early stage in my life. My parents always threw us out of the house and said, yeah, bahar jao, khelo, take part in sports. I was very competitive in sports in school and in college. So that discipline and focus comes from there. The hardships in life makes you sort of wake up, whether it be a breakup or a heartbreak, or you've hit rock bottom in your career. These are the hardships one goes through, and they realize that, the spirituality really does help. Also, I think the whole world is going through that phase, sort of a bigger phase right now, where you're talking about meditation and spiritualism, and we're looking for more peaceful. We're trying to just sort of understand us, human beings, better.
Yeah.
I mean, now that I read so much, right? I read a lot, and I've read so much about spirituality and many different sort of gurus, so to speak. Some I listen to, they all say the right things and the nice things, but it's about you ultimately understanding, taking that knowledge and figuring yourself out.
Yeah.
So, so I did have some really rough moments in my life, which made me turn to reading this kind of knowledge and putting it into practice in my life, and it helps. It really helps. It's fantastic. I think if they could, teach kids, educate kids much younger to sort of look at, their lives far more deeply and closely at an early age, it really would help them. You know, especially today. Especially today with so much of these social media issues, problems, depression going on.
Yeah.
People need this help. You know, to see that, look at yourself, there's more to life. There really is more to life than just seeing it through a camera. There's far more to life. I mean, when I was growing up, my parents used to take us out into the jungle and we used to go camping. And for me, everything is about nature and adventure. And, you know, you give me a mountain or a beach any day over a party, and I'd be, you know, more than happy. Take me on a trek for 4 hours, I'd be great. So for me, I connect with nature a lot. And this has always been, ever since we were growing up, me and my brothers, we used to go out and be it play sports or go out in the jungle or climb trees. That's how I remember my childhood. Cycling, you know, going on these long cycle trips, 6 hours, you know,
That's
camping
amazing.
out. Yeah, that's the kind of childhood I had, and I totally appreciate it and I love it because I don't see that happening much nowadays. And well, it is, the times are different.
Yeah.
You know, kids are brought up differently. But having said that, I feel one needs to get them out there and experience these kind of things because this is true joy.
Yeah. You know, you spoke of parties and socializing. Priyanka Chopra, who you worked with as well, you know,
Yeah.
recently, just about 2 days ago in her podcast, mentioned that
Yeah.
in an interview actually, that she said that, you know, there was a point of time in her career where in like Bollywood, to get work, she had to socialize or go to parties and networking. And while she understands that, a part of her did not connect with that aspect either. Did you also feel that, like, or is this just a way of saying कि नहीं नहीं अगर party में जाएंगे network करेंगे तो काम मिलेगा, or is it only your work that eventually speaks right now?
Right now, Sunny, I mean, you know, it's a mixture of everything. It's not only our film industry. You look some of the biggest deals are done on golf courses, yeah.
True.
Between corporates.
Yeah.
You know, executives are playing golf together and they're striking some of the biggest deals.
Yeah.
So we call it parties, but it's just, you go out and network. You go out, you meet people. I mean, I could go to your office and say, hey, I want work. Or I'd meet you casually at a social gathering, party, a social gathering, and say, hey, you know what? Everyone's at ease, right?
Yeah.
And you say, listen, I'd love to work with you. I don't see any problem in that. I mean, you don't go out necessarily to find work at a social gathering. You go to meet your colleagues, to meet friends. They are part of the same industry. You know, maybe you have great creative conversations, maybe you won't, right? And there, maybe you get an opportunity to be part of someone's film, or, you know, I'm speaking specifically of our industry. Maybe somebody would see you looking a little different and say, hey, maybe that's the character I'm looking for. You never know what happens where.
Correct.
We shouldn't give it a definition of, hey, I need to go to a party to get a job. I'm going because I want to go. I want to have fun. If I don't want to go, let's not go. Yes, initially you would think that I'd have to do this to get a job. But once you go and you understand that it's not, I don't have to do this to get this. People know you. They will ultimately come to you if they want to work with you.
Yeah.
But you just might look a different way, or you might catch a director or a producer who's just relaxed and says, hey, you know what? Yeah, maybe we should work together. It's that moment and that opportunity. It could happen in the office too.
Yeah.
But it could also happen at a social gathering. You never know. But you don't have to go to these parties to look for work. I mean, if I'm throwing a birthday party, for instance, or I'm throwing a success party for my film, then I want my colleagues to come and celebrate with me. And maybe we'll talk about work, or maybe we won't. So it's, I don't know how to put it, but you shouldn't go with the mindset
That you're going to get work.
that I'm going only looking that, yes, I'm going in the hope that someone see me.
Correct.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, and if I don't go, I'm not missing out on anything, because I'll meet you in your office also, right? That something might happen.
You know, we also have our own friends, and sometimes when we kind of feel like, you know, let me talk about myself and my friends, if we feel like, "Arey yaar, abhi kaam nahi hai," yeah, you know, we want work, I would go to my friend and be like, give me work, you know, like, I know you're doing
do
great.
that today.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, you have friends in the industry. Have you ever done that before now?
I still do it. What is my job as an actor? My job as an actor is to act, to be in front of the camera. And if I don't have a job, to go and say, bhai, mujhe kaam chahiye.
And I feel nobody should be ashamed for asking for work.
You should have no shame in
Yeah.
asking for work.
Yeah.
And I have no shame. I'll call up people who I know and say, let's meet for a coffee and chat. Or I'll call up directors and producers I don't even know, whose movie I've just seen and say, यार आपका काम मुझे बहुत पसंद है. I want to meet you.
Yeah.
And if they grant me a meeting, great. If they say, no, I'm too busy, I'll say, okay, just remember me. I want to work with you. And if it happens, it happens. It doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But कम से कम मैंने तो अपना काम किया. I did my job. My job is to go and say,
Give me work.
give me work.
Yeah.
You know, that's why should there be shame?
Correct.
I don't believe this. There should be no ego.
Yeah.
I mean, people call me and tell me today also, yeah, screen test karega. I said, क्यों नहीं? करना. You should see if I'm good and I should see if I want to be a part of that.
Correct.
You know, तो कर लेते. And it's just that sometimes these auditions and screen tests are done so, you know, it's so impersonal that I feel you don't give it your best. You know, so that's the only thing. You know, and otherwise, I have no shame in asking for work and going and doing a screen test. I think it's wonderful.
It's fun also. I think it's challenging, right? Like for me, if I've been asked to like interview for another company, even though I don't want to switch or have zero intent to switch, I would still give that interview just to see like, am I worthy enough? Will they say yes to me or like, mere khud ke skills brush ho ja rahe, you know?
You just have to know for yourself.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no shame. I'm telling you, I still do it today. I call up directors and I call up producers and say, you know, I've got this great show which is Kamar Call Empire. I've got a Telugu film coming out, you know. Maybe you should watch it when it comes out. But hey, I want to work.
I want to work too.
मुझे काम चाहिए.
ऐसा हुआ है कभी कि you were almost signed for a project, like आपको बोल दिया था और suddenly replaced? Because I've had so many people recently tell me that कि हम पहले बात नहीं करते थे because we used to feel like कि हाँ बहुत बड़ी बात हो गई, but now we're like, dude, you replaced us, man.
Yeah, I've
Big
been
deal.
replaced. I've been replaced last minute. I don't want to name names.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I've been replaced last minute because, and it was the producers, somebody who got the job. I mean, I was there, all spoken for and everything. And it's happened 3 or 4 times. It upsets you at that point. At that point, like, you know what? You really, today in hindsight, I look back and say, you just have to trust the universe because something better is waiting. You know? At that point, जब वो होता था, I was thinking, यार ये क्या हो रहा है मेरे साथ? क्यों? And I was like, yeah, नाइंसाफी है. You know, but then you think about it, like, yeah, जान दो, because there must be something better. And then when you watch the movie, like, shit movie.
You know.
No, but ultimately, I mean, it happens. It happens to not only me, it happens to the best. It happens to some of the bigger actors, and you know, it happens to them also. कि suddenly last minute, किसी को निकाल दिया picture से, and you might know the reason, you might not know the reason, but this is how it is. और ये सिर्फ हमारी इंडस्ट्री में नहीं, ये सारी इंडस्ट्री में होता है.
Correct.
In every industry, it happens. You're taken out of your job, you're given, you're promised everything. There's a letter also of employment.
और gone.
Out.
ये हुआ है मेरे साथ. मुझे employment letter आ गया है email पर, and then the next day they're like, sorry यार, we committed, but you know अभी पैसे नहीं हमारे पास. हमने एक दिन में कहाँ से bankrupt हो गए आप यार? Like what just happened? Right now you said yes, and I've given like some 4-5 like HR rounds and VC rounds and all that, and then suddenly bye, like gone. So yeah, it's true. I feel, you know, personally also, this is my opinion, that everything happens everywhere, but the Bollywood, Hindi film industry ज़्यादा highlight हो जाती है.
हाँ, क्योंकि celebrity लोग हैं अपनी industry में इतने सारे, so now it's cricket, Bollywood, OTT, anything happens here. Also, audiences know our faces.
Correct.
They want to read कि इसके साथ ये हुआ. Because कभी-कभार क्या होता है कि if you get kicked out of your job, कहीं ना कहीं someone there also has lost their jobs, right? And they want to feel कि यार ये सिर्फ हमारे साथ नहीं होता है.
Correct.
इनके साथ भी होता है.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a little comfort कि it happens everywhere. So people like reading this.
You know, lastly, before I let you go, I also want to bring this up, that you've been one of the few actors who did television pretty early on.
Yeah.
You did Khatron Ke Khiladi.
Yeah.
And now that whole line is billed and how. Like no actor is now, you know, very image cautious in terms of कि TV नहीं कर सकते या OTT नहीं कर सकते. Great move though. But what if somebody offers you like a reality show like Big Boss? Would you put your life out there and be like, yeah, take it?
यार हर साल मुझे ये ऑफर आ जाता है, but
आप क्यों नहीं कर रहे?
you know, It's just not my. एक तो मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है वहाँ जाने के लिए because besides the last few months, the last year and a half since I've been shooting again, I've been shooting these 3 movies simultaneously. So I didn't have the dates. Firstly, secondly, I don't know if I can be locked in a house for 4 months. It's not. Maybe if I was 20, I'd do it. But I'm not at the stage of my life where I want to lock myself up for. If you give me Salman's job, I'll do it. मैं तो कर लेता हूँ. You know, I'll be the showrunner of Big Boss. मैं तो आराम से वो कर लेता हूँ. And I do a fantastic job also. Not that Salman is outstanding. I love him. I don't know if I'm ready to be in
So
a reality show. No, not even public. I don't. I mean, I've got other things also going on in my life.
Yeah.
I can't shut off my life for 4 months and be in. और जिस तरह ये झगड़ा होता रहता है अंदर, यार मेरी बस की बात नहीं. You know, I mean, maybe it's good for viewing, but it's not my mind space also right now. And that's not the kind of reality show. You give me a reality show like when I did Khatro.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I love. I love adventure. I love going out, and I was also offered to host roadies.
That would have been fab.
Yeah, but that unfortunately I didn't get it. It went to, I think Sonu's hosting it right now. So that's something I'd love to do because that's outdoor adventure. You know, anything sporty you give me, I will do it at the drop of a hat, even if I'm a contestant. That's why when Khatro was offered to me, I also found out who the other contestants were. और उस समय बहुत सारे अच्छे लोग थे, बहुत अच्छे लोग थे, and हमारे उसमें काफी दोस्त थे. So I thought, wow, and we were going to Brazil to shoot, and that's the kind of stuff I like. I like jumping off trees and going under trains, and वो सब मुझे पसंद है. I'm not sitting in a room and shouting at people. Give me a running race also, I'll do that. वो भी कर लेता हूँ.
So basically, I think you should get something which is more stunt driven.
Anything
that would be fab.
Action, adventure, you know, that is something I love. I mean, like I'm doing 3 action films right now. Yeah? And it's just fantastic. I'm enjoying it so much.
Yeah.
You know,
talk to me about the films if you can.
I'm doing a Telugu film called Agent, which is releasing now on the 28th of April.
Ooh.
And we have a great cast. We've got Mammootty. We've got Nagarjuna's son Akhil and myself. So when they offered this to me, I was like, "Acha, मैं South जा रहा हूँ. देख लेते हैं क्या offer करेंगे." And they narrated the story to me, and it was fantastic. It's about 3 raw agents. One's the boss, one's the new recruit, and one's the old recruit.
Ooh.
But it's a great action film, really nice. I mean, their way of making films in the South. My director Surendra Reddy, who's made Kick, and he's made all these films in the South, and he's made some hugely commercial films, successful commercial films. And their way of doing things is very different from the way we do things. और मुझे लगा था उस समय कि यार हम लोग साउथ के राइट्स खरीद के हिंदी में बना रहे हैं, चाहे तमिल, चाहे तेलुगु या मलयालम. So let me just go and do that only straight away. You know? So when I was offered that, I was like, wow, let's do this. Let me hear the story. They narrated it, and I thought it was excellent.
Yeah.
So we finished shooting that action film. I'm doing a Malayalam film called Bandra.
Ooh, it's called Bandra.
Yes.
Damn,
I
that's
asked
your
my director Arun. I said, sir, what have you named the film? He said, I'm thinking of calling it Bandra. So I said, I know the story of your film, but Bandra इससे क्या लेना देना है, इस पिक्चर से क्या लेना देना है, क्या कनेक्शन है? It sounds nice. So I said okay. You know, I said, but you sure you want to call it Bandra? I said I live there.
Yeah,
you know,
that boy.
He said, oh, you live in Bandra? I said, yeah. And your film is called Bandra? Yes, but it sounds very nice. So I said, okay.
Bandra.
Call your film Bandra. And now in Kerala, you're in Bandra. I said, yeah, I live there also. You know? So there's another action. It's a tragic love story. It's got one of the bigger stars from the Kerala film industry, Dilip. He's got Tamanna Bhatia, and he's got myself. So that's also something which we finished, and that will release, I think, mid-May. So I've got Malayalam, Telugu, and I've got a Hindi film I've done with Mudassar Aziz, Mere Husband Ki Biwi.
Okay.
You know, that's an ensemble cast, so it's got a whole bunch of us, and it's a really nice family fun film. और अब मैं ढूंढ रहा हूँ. I'm looking for more work, and we started knocking on doors again.
That's so nice for you to say it like that, man. Because there's so many people who should do it like as frivolously and as happily without ego. You know, because it's work, yaar, rozi roti.
He goes, shame की क्या जरूरत है उसमें, मुझे काम चाहिए तो काम चाहिए ना.
Yeah.
If I don't ask for work, then sometimes people forget also ना. ये say अच्छा यार इसने कुछ काम किया नहीं काफी समय से, तो should we use him, not use him? उनके दिमाग में बहुत मतलब thoughts चल रही है. So I feel it's better to just go and say yeah.
More platforms, I guess, more scripts now, more content to consume, and a very there's an audience for every kind of content right now. So I feel this is probably your Dino 2.0 right now.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. My fingers are crossed. It's just hoping that I get nice, really good roles, to be a part of, nice characters to play, which people sort of remember me for. I mean, I love acting. I love being in front of the camera.
Yeah, I know. When I walked in, Raaz, Dino said, "Do you have side preference?" And he was like, "Both my sides are nice, or at least I think so. Both my sides are good."
I like it.
But this was fab, and thank you so much for removing so much time to talk to us. Like, I've had a great chat. This is one of my most wanted interviews because I've told you why right in the start of it. So thank you so much. Looking forward to all your work. Very, very insightful, because a lot of things that I asked you, which personally even is kind of helping me, go back home and think about. So thank you so much. Looking forward to all your work, and I'm going to see you again.
Yeah, please do more interviews. I love the camera.
Yeah.
We can talk about anything. We talk about my clothes. We can talk about my fitness. We talk about my hair, me, whatever. My beard, which will go soon.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Thanks for the insider. New look. I love it, bro. Thank you so much, and great chatting with you again.
Super.